Hello, Martin. I am excellent. Thank you very much. How about you?
Thank you for asking, you should say.
You can see I'm very
good. I'm doing good.
I'm very pumped. We have an interesting episode.
Yes, you are very pumped because I know there's been a recent collaboration with one of your favorite brands of all time, which we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Of course, that is the Swatch X Blancpain collaboration. We'll talk about that today, as well as, of course, one of our other topics is if you wanted to go to Dubai Watch Week, how do you go about, if you're coming from outside of the UAE, how do you go about setting up this trip? Where do you stay? How long should you stay? What should you attend? When can you register, etc.? So we're going to talk about some generic housekeeping stuff for Dubai Watch Week.
Absolutely. Okay. So,
but first,
what are you wearing?
What is on your wrist?
Yes, of course. I mean, I'm obviously for that, the time of the recording, and then we will not do a special episode about this release. We will not do a emergency release. We do not do anything special, but there has been a big collaboration announced again with Swatch and with Blancpain, another member of the Swatch group. And in that spirit, I am wearing two watches today. I'm wearing the Blancpain 50 Fathoms, Blancpain 50 Fathoms Bathyscaphe blue ceramic. It's a mouthful. I
have to say, I am surprised that Swatch didn't go for the Bathyscaphe. I thought the Bathyscaphe would be the more common option.
Wait a year and there will be some.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay. And on the other wrist?
On the other wrist is, of course, the Moser Heritage Dual Time, because we are going to
And why are you wearing that one?
Well, the main sponsor or the initiator or the founder and the maintainer and the runner and the star of the Dubai Watch Week is the Siddiqui family, and they distribute Moser in the region. That's the reason.
So in honor of the Siddiqui family, you're wearing the Moser.
Absolutely.
And in honor of Swatch X Blancpain, you're wearing the Blancpain. Very good combination.
Yes.
Sadly, I'm only wearing one watch, but I am also wearing one of the Siddiqui family's top brands, which of course is Rolex, right? So I'm wearing my Rolex Explorer 36 millimeter, 124270, I guess. I always forget this one. I don't know.
Reference
numbers, I remember my sub number. I remember my date just number, but I could never remember.
I'm already happy that I remember my number plates, you know.
I'm happy that I remember my phone number. Seriously. It took me like a solid 2 years to learn my number plates.
You know, we are old enough to remember the rotary phones, right?
Yeah.
When you really remembered phone numbers, because there was no saving of phone numbers. You had to dial them all the time, and you had the different, little books or these flip up things where you could press the names, the alphabet number, and then it would open up and it showed you all of the people with that last name for P, for example, or for D or whatever you have. And then, you had to manually write them in and then dial them, and you would hate the people with the 0. But then when we started with mobile phones and you just saved the number, never dialed it again, poof, you forgot.
So you have no idea what the numbers are, yeah.
So
now
I still
I'm trying to get my daughter to...
my childhood friends' numbers, I can still remember them. The landline numbers.
So I am now telling my daughter to remember my phone number. And
that's
of course I've remembered. It is extremely important, because once again, this is the generation that just hits dad on the phone and is dialed.
Yes.
So this is the problem that we're running into is if she doesn't have her phone, what does she do?
Yeah.
She's not able to call us.
You know what? It's absolutely amazing in which world we live in. I mean, how far we came in our lifetime already. It's just absolutely insane. I mean, I remember my dad coming home with a pocket calculator in the size of a credit card,
I remember this one, the thin one.
Like,
it's supposed to fit into your wallet, but then if you sit on it, then it immediately broke.
Of course. But it's just like, I was
Mazda also made car keys like this.
Yeah. And I thought
Mazda made these car keys in the size of a credit card, and if you sat on it once again, it was supposed to go in your wallet, but then it's in your back pocket and it bends and it breaks.
Yeah, I was thinking that this was just the epitome of technology, and I thought, this is amazing. A pocket calculator.
We've reached peak technology.
Yeah, and now, I mean, yesterday I saw a YouTube video of somebody playing, I think it's GTA 6 or something, Grand Theft Auto, and they tried to convince non-player characters, AI-powered non-player characters running around the city, but just walking up to them and speaking to them, in just speaking to them, right? You're speaking to a person, a virtual person in a video game, and you have a conversation with them with voice, and they try to convince them that they're actually living in a simulation, right? That they are actually player characters and not real. And it was amazing. The reactions of them, and they had really, I don't know if it's New York, but they had this annoyed, slightly arrogant New Yorkish vibe about them, and I was like, "Oh, I get lost. I have no time for this," and or really engage into stuff like, "Why would you think that?" And and you really had an interesting debate about this, and that's, we now live in a world where you can actually in speech talk to characters in a video game, and you thought like, and I was thinking that when I had my Game Boy and played Tetris, that was the coolest thing ever.
I think I told you this. My daughter asked me, because I still have my old Game Boy, and she asked me why the games were black and white. No, she said green and white, because technically we called it black and white, but it wasn't. Yeah. It was green and white, or green and black. Which one was it? The screen was green and then there was black, right?
Contrast was
so that's what she called it. I'm like, this is we're too old.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. So moving on.
So
let's talk Blancpain X Swatch. What did you think? So ultimately, I was the one. Ralf wanted to make an emergency video or podcast about this. I said, you know what? It's been beat to death. There's 1,000 different videos on there on YouTube.
Yeah, but our listeners only listen to us.
Yes, that's true. Very true. So I would rather give an overall, because it comes out tomorrow. So I'd rather give a reaction instead.
Yeah.
We've seen all 5 of them. We know what they look like. We haven't seen what they feel like, nor will we for probably a long time.
Maybe you will be able to go in. I don't know if they allow you to touch them. I mean, I'm sure they will be sold out.
They didn't allow us to touch the moon swatch for how long?
Didn't they? Okay.
No, there was in a case.
Oh, okay.
Remember, they would never open the case. I asked to see it 1,000 times, and they always said no. Mm-hmm. But because if you felt it, you'd realize how poor, and cheap they were made. So,
which is one of my topics about this. Yeah, but I think. So, what do I think about it? I think.
Well, let's start from the beginning. Okay. Let's go all the way back to the first snippet that we heard. It was apparently in a German newspaper. There was a full-page ad.
Yeah.
A blue underwater, like a box. And it just said Blank X Swatch.
Correct.
And it looked like, at first, I thought it was a rotating bezel. Mm-hmm. And then I looked closer and I thought, no, it's a crown.
Yes.
Right? Because they do mark the crowns. The moon swatches were Omega X Swatch or Omega XS, I think it was, on the crown. So I looked at the crown shape, and then immediately people said, that's a Blancpain crown.
Yeah, 50 fathoms crown. Not
exactly. So, but no one knew, normal people didn't know who the collaboration was with. So I got on the phone with you immediately, right? So we started texting about this, and I said, some people, it's a Seamaster. And I said, no, if it was going to be a Seamaster, they would have said Omega X Swatch again. Because that's not a surprise. Yeah. There was no reason to blank out the name of the brand, right? So then we said, okay, let's look at Swatch Group divers. Who else makes a Swatch Group diver? We have Glashütte. They would make the what is it called? The
CQ.
CQ. Not going to be a CQ. I don't know why I didn't think it would. But
well, you have the Longines Hydro Quest or Hydro Conquest or whatever.
No, but you need it to be the essence of that brand. Yeah. It has to be the pivotal, fundamental watch that brand manufactures. And the CQ is not it for Glashütte. The Hydro Conquest could have been it.
Yeah, I mean, also, I think it's a bit weak because Longines has such a big catalog, and there's not the one. I mean, the Hydro Conquest is nice, but is it the one that you think immediately
it's
of
not
when
iconic.
You think about Longines?
It has to be iconic,
exactly.
Right?
So, yeah, exactly. And that's what Mark Hayek said, the CEO of the Swatch Group, who is also the CEO and president of Blancpain, which is a bit weird because he's not only the CEO of the... And that's the only brand he's also the CEO of. except being the CEO of the Swatch Group.
Yeah, of
which
course,
is a bit odd. He has these two jobs there. But anyhow,
Doesn't matter.
So he said in an interview with Fratello in 2022 that he's open to many watch collaborations as long as they're iconic and Breguet is off the table. So we will not see a Breguet. I was hoping for maybe a Type 20, but that's not going to happen. So, well, there we go. But then, Blancpain was...
So what else remains on the table?
Oh, we have Mido, we have Certina, we have... what else do we have? We have a couple of others there. Glasuto Original, as you said. But again, CQ, is that the iconic one? Longines we have. We then have...
No, I'm thinking in the future, what could come?
What?
Okay, all right. If this happened, imagine PRX in plastic.
Yes.
That would sell like hotcakes, one.
Yeah.
Two, I don't think it would be hard to get. They could make this a regular thing that's easily available. True. I mean, imagine it in orange.
Yeah, it's cool. With plastic,
like bioceramics,
not just the dial, do a lot of
bioceramic.
Things, yeah. So
it could be quartz. Imagine it coming out in both quartz and System 51.
The problem with the System 51...
I think we've solved Swatch's problems for forever.
Yes, I think so.
Tissot X Swatch, done.
But I think the System 51 was one of the issues is that it's quite a big movement. That's why only all of System 51 watches are 42 millimeters.
42.
So it's a big of a chunk. It's light and it's, of course, as it says, 51 pieces, of which 19 are rubies, are jewels. So it's really a very optimized tractor over movement. It's not very elegant necessarily, but it's non-serviceable. It's held together by one screw and it's laser adjusted and regulated. No single human being has touched it. It's fully assembled by robots, which is like the antithesis of mechanical watchmaking.
Blancpain.
Right? Yes, and Blancpain. Where we're saying like, well, this is about hand finishing, about hand assembly, about extremely high-end watchmaking, haute horlogerie. They have, well, if you look at their movements, they're just stunning. And this watch is a bit of an antithesis. And that's why I always say to people who are like, well, how would that cheapens the brand? How would Blancpain release a plastic watch? Blancpain did not release any watch. This is a Swatch interpretation of the Blancpain. Yes, it's in cooperation. It's a collaboration, but it's
change things. This is not what the actual 50 Fathoms looks
like. Exactly. It's an interpretation of the 50 Fathoms, a Swatch version of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but with the Moon Swatch, it was identical.
That is true.
Measurements, everything. And here they started taking liberties.
Because I think with a watch brand like Blancpain, because I had so many comments that I read on YouTube and other places and Instagram where people said like, yeah, but why didn't they do it in metal? Yeah, but then what is different to a normal Blancpain 50 Fathoms? Just the movement. So
that's a stupid thing to say.
Yeah, Swatch is about being plastic or bioceramic. And in any case, it's 30% of the watch or 33% of the watch, 1/3 roughly, is plastic. 2/3 are ceramic-ish stuff, apparently. So that's what Swatch Group says. The Swatch Moon Swatch, as you said, was feeling so cheap, mostly because it's so light, including strap 29 grams. It's nothing, right? I mean, you pick this watch up and think like, oof, cheap, because we always feel like the heavier, the more quality. I don't know. It's a human thing that we always think the heavier a watch is, that the more quality it has. Or in any case, it's for all things. I think we think heavy, more solid. Which brings me to the next point when you're saying like, what Blancpain is so much about the ocean preservation. They have so much of oceanic research teams that support preservation efforts. I think there's a couple of dozens that they're supporting. They're all about the ocean and supporting and saving the oceans. So creating a plastic watch, the very thing that actually pollutes the ocean the most, isn't that a bit of an oxymoron? And to that, I must say, no, it's not. First of all, the straps are made of recycled fishing nets. So that means they're taking some stuff out of the ocean again. Don't know how much of the plastic is recycled plastic or ocean plastic. I don't know. But we do know that other companies like Oris and so use ocean plastic to put them into their dials and other things. Then, if we assume, let's stay with the Moonswatch, for example. Bioceramic, 1/3, 29 grams. Let's assume they sold 2 million of these, right? In 1 year, 2 years, 2 million. By the end of the year, they might have sold 2 million. 29 grams is 58 tons of that, of watches. 58 tons of watches. 1/3 of that is 19 tons because that's the plastic. 2/3 is ceramic. So you end up with maybe 19 tons of plastic. Every minute in this world, we are using 1 million plastic bottles of water bottles. 1 million every minute. Dubai has the capacity of processing about 5,000 to 6,000 tons of waste daily. 19 tons is nothing. And this is just the city of Dubai, right? The Emirate of Dubai. Imagine of how much trash there's in the world. 19 tons is not even a rounding error. That doesn't even make any difference. So when you go about this environmental impact of this the Moonswatch or the Blancpain, there is none. Even if they all are thrown in the ocean, no impact. The ocean doesn't care. It's not a problem. Too small.
That doesn't mean you should throw your Moonswatches into the ocean.
And I think in most of the countries where these watches are sold, the trash is not sent
They're
to
landlocked.
the
There is no ocean. It's fine.
They're burned or landfills. Yes, exactly. Not that it is much better, but it's at least a different way of doing this. But yeah, what do I think in general about this release? I think it's surprisingly nice. I was not expecting it to be that nice with so much attention to details. I think their marketing team really went all out. The design team, not the marketing team. The design team went all out and really created something that is very, very nice. It captures the essence of Swatch and Blancpain. And it has so many nice little details, like the drilled holes, right, in the lugs.
So this is one of the things that people were afraid of because a lot of people were switching the straps on the Moonswatches.
Yeah.
And the plastic was so brittle. If you stuck a metal Bourgeon, spring bar tool in there, you had a good chance of snapping that plastic lug off. So now by having these drilled lug holes, switch away, right? You can switch as many straps as you want and you're not going to break the plastic.
Yeah. Just be careful with putting your tools in the holes to not scratch these sides. But other than that, it's really easy. Very good move, I think, as well. Then the 91 meters of water resistance where people said, it will be a Swatch and it won't be water resistant. How can it be a Blancpain diver? And it's water resistant to 91 meters, which is exactly 50 fathoms. A fathom is 6 feet, so 183 centimeters. So it actually has to the 70th anniversary of the 50 fathoms, which was called 50 fathoms because of the water resistance of 50 fathoms.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
91 meters. It has 91 meters of water resistance. So it's cool. It's perfect. People love that, right? So that's great. Then, of course,
it is
Jean-Claude Biver.
It has 100 meters of water resistance, right?
Of course. Yeah. It makes no sense to have 91 meters. It's just, it's a nice, cool marketing
it's funny that they wrote it. Now, I have to say, where the hell did this scuba name come in?
Because they have a range, the Swatch Scuba. You remember that?
No.
Well,
I'm not a Swatch guy.
I had a Swatch Scuba. It was their dive watch. The Scuba was 200 meters water resistance. Yeah, you can look it up. But I want to talk quickly about this movement, which is the next thing. When I said, when it's a Blancpain corporation, what on earth are they doing when they put a quartz movement in? And they didn't. They put the System 51 mechanical movement in because Jean-Claude Biver
that was a big deal.
Was on record saying that Blancpain never produced a quartz watch and never will. Yeah. Well, that is maybe one of the Scubas. They had so many. They had it's an old line. They had so many of them.
There's another one. There's tons of these weird looking.
Yeah, with a very tiny dial and lots of bezel.
And a massive bezel.
It was
All right,
200
okay,
meter
cool.
water resistance.
Cool.
So it's a part of
All
that
right.
line, yeah, as a diving line, I guess, from Swatch. And yeah, so I think this is good to have a mechanical movement. Of course, again, there are people saying like, oh, but it's not serviceable. $400 for a watch and it's not serviceable. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? I have System 51 movements in two of the watches that I have from Swatch, and they're just not dying. Sometimes I wish they would, because then I can at least throw them away. this way I still have them in my drawer and just occupying space. But you know what I mean? This movement was released in 2013, 10 years ago exactly. So has it so far had any major issues? No, there's still watches from 2013 that work just fine. So it's not serviceable, but it's self-lubricating. It has this plastic stuff and all of this.
It lasts a long time, right?
It will last a long time. And if you know, when you look at the Blancpain prices, if I want to buy a NATO strap from my Blancpain watch that came on the sailcloth strap, it will cost me about 2,500 to 2,800 dirhams or something. That's double the price of a Blancpain, or what was it, Scuba 50 Fathoms.
Swatchpain.
Yeah, let's call it Scuba 50 Fathoms because that's the official name. Half. The watch costs half of the price of a bloody NATO strap. I mean, okay, it has the ceramic buckles and stuff,
I'm
but
curious
still.
about this NATO strap. I want to see how this NATO strap feels.
The one from the
Is it going to be as
Scuba 50
bad
Fathoms,
as the previous one? Yeah. Because people were already telling me they want to buy this NATO strap or use this NATO strap on their Moon Swatch.
Is it the same lug width? I don't even know.
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
Oh, no, we don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. That's an excellent question.
I know all of the
I didn't
details.
even consider it. I assumed.
I know the diameter. It's 42.5 or 42.3, I think. I know that it's 14.4 millimeters thick or 14.3. It depends who you listen to. And it has a lug to lug width of 48 millimeters, but I don't know the lug width. It's the one thing I don't know.
I'm looking.
I'm sure it might.
It
hopefully is 20 millimeters. That would be really, really nice.
It's 48 millimeter lug to lug.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I'm not seeing anything. Everyone knows that it has the drilled lugs. Yes, we know this.
Also, some important things. While you're looking this up, I wanted to let people know that there's these 5 different versions. Right, you have the 2 Arctic Oceans, the Antarctic Ocean, the Arctic Ocean. You have the Pacific, the Atlantic, and the Indian Ocean. So you have these different color versions of these oceans. All of these have these sea snails. Are they called snails?
Yeah.
Sea snails. Or some
escargot.
Yeah, sure, I wouldn't eat them. So these one of the typical species of sea creatures on the back, which is very nice. It's they use some kind of laser engraving these things in it with color. I don't know how they do this, but it's pretty cool. By the way, also the back of the watch, right? The transparent case back is actually sapphire crystal, according to Swatch. While the front crystal...
No. Is it? I thought they called it super...
That's the front.
Scratch resistant.
That's the front.
I assumed it was both.
No, the back is sapphire. The front is not. The front is some biomaterial that is super hardened, coated something. Very interesting. It's on the Swatch website. I was very surprised to see that.
And they released the prices as well, by the way. The prices are on the Swatch website now.
Oh yeah, what is it for?
400 US?
Yeah, it's 390 euros in Europe. I know that. I saw that already, but I don't know what
340 pounds.
What is it in UAE? Do we know?
I don't know.
Because it's no online shop there. Yeah.
I'm still trying to find the stupid strap, and no one seems to know whether it has a 20 millimeter lug width or not.
We know everything else, but even Hodinky didn't say that, I think, in there.
Yeah, which means nobody has had one in their hands.
No, they have. They had it in their
they had. Hodinky had it. Why didn't I mention?
Yeah, I don't know. Very, very interesting.
That's very weird.
Yeah. Anyhow, so the other things is these 5 different oceans, right? With the different oceans actually put on the plates and the bridges, which is very nice. You can see that through the transparent case back. And of course, on the sapphire crystal, they have these little sea creatures. The 2 Arctic versions have no date. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. But I don't like the small little dots for the Lume plots either. I wish
Yes.
they would have had the bigger triangles and then kept everything
They have
the same.
I think, thankfully, made each version a bit unique, right? So you have, the Arctic versions, the Arctic Ocean and the Antarctic Ocean, they have these round dots instead of these spare-like
Triangular
indices.
thinking, yeah.
Then the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic, and the Indian Ocean have numerals.
Date. And date
And
windows.
date. But the Antarctic has the moisture indicator at 6 o'clock, which is actually working, which I think is
Cool,
also
yeah.
an amazing, nice little detail. And the Arctic version has this no radiation indicator, which is also, or no radiations with an S, which I think is pretty cool. This was indicating.
It's historically cool, yeah.
It was indicating the civilian versions of this watch, that it doesn't have radiations, because the mil-spec versions had radium in it, which the military specified, so they couldn't change it. But the civilian versions didn't, so they put that on the dial. Boom, no radiations.
And by the way, applied Lume plots and applied indices.
Yes, which is also
Which
people
is
thought
huge.
they wouldn't do. And the bezel is loomed.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
I know that it's
very
a
nice.
120 click bezel, which is nice.
It's very nice.
So
So apparently the Arctic Ocean versions are also the two that have non-black bezels, while the Arctic, the Arctic versions have a gray and orange. All the other ones are black. Though the one at the blue watch doesn't look black to me because of the reflections on it, but maybe that's a illusion, because it says on the Swatch website that the bezel is black. So yeah, but it looks so blue. When you look at the website, it just looks blue, but it isn't apparently. Yeah, so I think it's generally, and also I forgot, for the Arctic versions, you also have a different logo. So the Blancpain logo is not above the name, and the Blancpain itself
they did.
is
And this
written
is
in a
nice.
different font.
That one's the vintage font, the other one's the modern font, which I think is cool.
Yeah,
They did a good job.
yeah. So there's so many little details, I find that really nice, and the straps, the 3-color straps, they look cool. So I must really say
They do.
they're really nice.
They could have screwed it up again with cheap straps like the ones on the Speedmasters.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. They look nice, but then again, the Speedy, the Moonswatch ones also look nice.
Yeah.
So I have no idea how these actually will feel in the hand.
True.
It could feel like
don't know.
sandpaper and be terrible. I don't know.
But what I think is also lovely is that it has a pin buckle, right? And not Velcro or anything like that.
Mhm.
I think this is amazing, because have you ever, lie down in the bed and you wore your
Yes.
Moonswatch and you had to take off the Moonswatch Velcro? I would wake up the entire house with it.
No, my issue is if you're wearing let's say you're wearing a shirt or a sweater, it continually snags and then starts ripping your shirt or your
true.
sweater, right?
It-
So that was my issue with not with the Moonswatch, but just Velcro in general. I have this problem with.
I agree. I think especially
So-
the Moonswatch Velcro band, it looked cool. I think it had its purpose there, but I didn't like it. I wasn't a fan. Just
Yeah,
wearing it,
exactly.
it felt a bit oof. Yes, it probably was made of recycled bottles or something. This one from the Scuba 50 Fathoms is made of recycled fishing nets. Great stuff. So yeah, I think
I thought that was cool. Yeah,
it's nice.
for sure.
So yeah, I think,
So-
and of course the date, if they have a date in typical Blancpain fashion, where they're saying, okay, we are first and foremost a diving watch. So that means unobstructed indices of Lume plots. For us Lume plotters, this is very important. The Lume plots are exactly where they're supposed to be
At 4:30.
And the date is at 4:30, so that it doesn't obstruct anything. And the date window is, I think, in black everywhere, or at least, let me just double check. I think it's white on the Pacific Ocean version, and on the other ones, it's, I think, either in dial color or no, it's actually in dial color. Wow, I think. And the, one thing that we didn't talk about is the dials, Fume dials. I mean, that at this price level, wow, well, that's not bad.
So out of these, by the way, what do you think is going to be the one everyone wants?
I think.
And what do you think is the least popular one?
Yeah, I think unfortunately, and I really, really don't know really why. I think one is very regional, will be very successful. I think the Indian Ocean will be a hot seller in India because you also have a bit of the Indian national colors on it, right? Except the white, but you have this orange and green. So that's pretty cool, I think. And as in, if you're Indian, that's nice. You have the national colors on the watch. But yeah, globally, I think the green is a bit like the least popular in the rest of the world because it's not the most pleasing green. But again, I haven't seen them in real time. In the real world. I think the Antarctic will be a great seller in this light gray.
This is the whitish light gray, yeah.
And I think the best seller will probably be the Atlantic Ocean.
Of course it is. Yeah, 100%.
Then I was warming up a bit with the Arctic. I think that's followed then. And I think then the second least popular will be the Pacific in yellow. But even though that is a very warm yellow, so it could also look pretty cool. I like the strap.
But with the contrast to the black, it looks like a bumblebee.
It does, which is also could be nice. But I'm not so sure how good that looks on my wrists. Or
the yellow and green are going to be last, and then everything else.
I think Pacific Ocean depends on your skin color. I mean, if you're a bit darker toned, right, then that could look really nice in this yellow. If you are white skinned, it probably looks not really cool. But if you're dark skinned, that could look really cool.
So for me personally, if I'm going to put my money down, I'm going Antarctic.
Yeah, I think
no date.
I would
no date.
Antarctic and blue. That would be my first two choices.
Yeah, but the blue I wouldn't go for because of the date window. Unfortunately,
yes.
They ruined that one for me. But I still feel, I don't know, maybe this is my OCD, but I feel you have to have a Blancpain to buy this. You know, in my mind, for me. I would have considered buying a moon swatch because I already had a moon watch. So with this one, I don't know if that same theory applies.
Yeah, I didn't because I have two moon swatches and I don't have a Speedmaster.
But also, I hate to say this, but I prefer the 50 Fathoms over the Bathyscaphe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
however,
you can do that.
The sizing is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Blancpain fans have also criticized. And so here we are, waiting for decades for Blancpain to have a permanent collection 42 millimeter watch or 41 millimeter watch, and then they release one and it's a Swatch.
Yeah, but this is why I'm saying I might buy it for that reason because I couldn't do a regular 50 Fathoms.
I think so many. I mean, a friend of mine has the NORAD, and it's a beautiful watch. This was the limited edition, right?
Yep.
And it's a perfect size. I mean, why Blancpain
wouldn't
shoots
they do
themselves
this?
in the foot and doesn't have a normal 50 Fathoms in 31 millimeters or 42? I mean, they can put this 13-15 movement that I have in my Bathyscaphe, which also is in the 50 Fathoms. It's a nice big movement. But it's not too big. They have managed to put it in a 38 millimeter watch. It's surprising because if you look at it, it really fills out the case nicely when you look at the transparent case back. But they made it fit in a 38 millimeter watch. Not in all of them, but in some of their versions. So that's a 3-barrel movement. They're put in series. It has 120 hours of power reserve. I measured it because I'm a nerd, and I found out it to be 136. So quite 20% more.
Even
or something.
more.
Yeah. So it
but they probably claim 120 because
6.
the 136 at that point is no longer accurate.
Yeah,
right?
probably. Yeah. So it's like a 5 days or 6 days movement. It's insanely accurate. It's less than a second a day wrong. So plus minus, I don't even know if it's plus or minus because it's so little. It's a joy to look at because of the details, the chamfering, the polishing, the brushing, the pelage, everything. It's just so nice. And of course, you have this blackened rotor that is solid gold, then blackened, then surface treated in 5 different things. It's polished, it's sandblasted, it's brushed, it's everything. It's just amazing, right? So you have really high-end watchmaking there. And then they managed to put this watch in a 38 millimeter case, have 300 meters of water resistance, and it's thinner than a Submariner. Boom.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
And everybody says, how did Rolex do a 200 meter? Is it Submariner 200 or 300 meter? 300 meter. 300 meter with that small case. It's amazing, right? And here comes Blancpain and puts it in even a smaller, in a thinner case. Also has 300 meters and 120 hours of power reserve. Anyhow, so Blancpain is on a different level, and I think that cooperation or collaboration with Swatch will bring the name Blancpain into people's mind, increase the mind share of the brand itself. They only make, 28,000 according to the last Morgan Stanley watch report. They estimate that they make about 28,000 watches a year with an average selling price of $21,000 or Swiss francs.
Which is nuts.
It's
average selling price.
Yes, because they make a lot of very, very high-end watches, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, they don't need to sell many more watches to make it a success at Blancpain. But I think the marketing effect, just bringing the 50 Fathoms as an iconic watch into the minds of people.
It's going to be a household name.
Yeah.
Blancpain is going to become a household name.
Yeah. And maybe even more so the 50 Fathoms, Monica, because that's actually...
yes, but ultimately what I'm looking at here is AP makes a similar number of watches, around 40K.
Yeah, 50
a year.
Or something.
And, well, that was before. I don't know what they're at now, but around there. And AP is a household name because of rappers and, movies and all of these people. Oh, Royal Oak. So now the problem is Blancpain occupies a very similar space, makes very similar number of watches, but no one knows about them except for watch nerds.
I think
no one's going to buy, unless you're an absolute watch nerd, you're not walking into a Blancpain boutique.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
I think you're right.
And now this is not going to be the case. Now I guarantee you there's going to be kids with this watch that will 10 years down the line buy a Blancpain.
Yeah, just because their competitors don't have that recognition, right? Now kids will know what a Blancpain is, or that Blancpain even exists. You still don't have this for other brands where they compete with watches, as you rightly said. As for a brand that makes a similar amount of watches, I think there are not so many. I think there's Vacheron Constantin with about, 32 according to the Morgan Stanley report, which I'm just having
Grand
in front
Seiko's
of
at
me.
the same place, around 35.
I don't have that because it's not a Swiss brand, so it's not in this report. But Swatch made nearly 5 million watches last year, so da-da. Of course, Rolex 1.2.
Oh, you're looking at I thought you were just listing brands. I didn't know you're looking at the report.
I'm just looking at the report. Bulgari 56,000. What do we have? Hublot 54. That's surprising. You think they would do more. Panerai 70,000. Hermes.
That's surprising because there's so many at the shop because nobody wants them.
Yeah, Audemars Piguet did 50,000 last year, but their average selling price is $45,000 Swiss francs.
Jesus, that's insane.
And Cartier made surprisingly 620,000 watches.
And I keep thinking, where are they?
Yeah,
I'm out and about. Yeah. I'm not seeing them.
I think that
I'm walking. I mean, it's women's quartz watches. That's what I'm thinking is the majority of these, right?
Yeah.
But almost everyone I know now, but this wasn't the case 5 years ago. But now almost all of my, friends, male friends, do have a Cartier in their collection.
Yeah, I think
about 5 years ago, that would have never happened.
I really want to know.
I don't know what happened.
How much the spread between male and female buyers is. Not necessarily models. Because
I'm gonna blindly take a guess, and it's gonna be like 80-20.
I think so too. It's a majority.
And I
also
have a hypothesis that the men buying them are buying them because their wives or girlfriends or whomever had Cartier watches, and you were introduced to the brand like that. I know that was the case for me. And the way we got into Cartier, my wife and I, she said, I want a tank. So, I was like, okay, well, 9,000 dirhams for a quartz tank. Okay, go buy one. She went and bought one, and I kept looking at it. And I'm like, 9,000 dirhams. This is a really good looking watch. And then, of course, you start looking at the men's selection, right? Santos de Cartier. And that's how I ended up with one.
I remember once on an auction, this live auction with Timepiece 360. Remember that? There was a Santos 100 XL or something for sale, and it went for 8,000 dirhams at the time. And I had it on my wrist, and I thought,
that was the old ETA movement.
It's nice, but still 8,000 dirhams, and nobody knows
new ones
which
blow it out of the water.
I know.
The new ones kill it.
Sure, but it's still visually very similar.
It is, except for if you look at it from the side.
Yeah, it's a bit
then
thicker,
you're like, what the hell happened here?
It was a chunk.
It's too thick.
Yeah.
It was too thick for its own good.
But at the
new
time,
ones, the way they made it.
Yeah. It was 2018.
No, I mean, they're still cool. Of course. But the only reason I say this is because the new ones came out.
Yeah, I think
So
Cartier makes some amazing watches. They do some good marketing. It's one of the powerhouses in the Richemont group, right? I mean, Cartier is just phenomenal what they're doing and how much sales they generate. So they're on a roll. Why are we talking about Cartier? About the amount of watches
that they produce more watches than we thought. Anyway,
so
all right.
Yeah, this is it.
That is all.
Yeah. How many? What do we think?
It's going to be cool.
Yeah. Will they sell as much as the Moonswatch?
Yes, 100%.
You think? I think
because the price is almost the exact same.
No,
I mean, nobody's going to notice.
$150 difference. No, it was $250.
No, it's $100 difference. $295 versus $290.95. I don't know.
No, it was $250.
No?
I don't. €250.
No,
I paid €250.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it was.
So I think it's quite a bit more. And I think.
So it is 100. You're right.
It doesn't have.
I don't know why I thought it was.
Maybe it doesn't have the pull really, like as much as Omega has. But I think the initial hype will be there for at least half a year, maybe 8-10 months. It will be very hard to get. And I don't know if they can churn out the System 51 movement as quickly as they can with the quartz movements. I don't know.
And just wait for the moonshine gold versions.
Yeah, no, I don't. No. We will have different oceans or different seas. The 7 seas. We will have the Ionic Sea, the Adriatic Sea, the Northern Sea, the Baltic Sea. We have all of these. Maybe.
No, you're gonna have the Gold Coast, and it's gonna be in gold.
And I have now the name for these sea snails. I just mentioned sea snails. They are called nudibranch. I don't know if I pronounce this right. These are nudibranches, different nudibranches from the different oceans. We have in Dubai, one person in our watch group knew this, that we have, I think, 28 different species of these nudibranches also here in our Arabian Gulf. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yep. All right. So, okay. Let's move on to our next topic.
If you want to see these nudibranches, what should you do? You should come to Dubai Watch Week, right? And then you can go diving as well.
Exactly. Come to Dubai. No, the reason we're saying this, we had a listener ask us if I were to come to Dubai. Apparently, they listened to the Dubai Mall episode, and fear not, we're going to make a Mall of the Emirates episode as well.
Yes,
walking through it, so we can talk you through that as well. But Dubai Mall episode, we talked through, and now, of course, it seems like some watch enthusiasts are interested in coming and visiting Dubai, and also looking around Dubai Mall. So we got a question on Instagram from a loyal listener. We're not a book. Nobody reads us, I guess. A listener, that's what they're called, I guess. And basically asked, okay, so where should I stay? What should I do? How do I do this? And so we wanted to kind of touch on this briefly. Excuse me. Basically, Dubai Watch Week takes place in an area of town called DIFC, which is the Dubai
International
Financial Center, I think.
It's where the stock market is.
Yeah, is that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Where the traders live or are.
Yeah.
Live. They live because they don't go outside, right? They stay in the buildings. Yeah. I'm assuming most traders don't have homes because they work 24/7.
They sleep under the desks, as you do.
I'm not surprised. Yeah. Now, so if you were to go there are a few hotel options. And then the one that Siddiqui pairs this with is, of course, the Ritz-Carlton. The Ritz-Carlton is the one that provides a lot of the catering and certain things for Dubai Watch Week.
Yeah.
However, I probably wouldn't recommend that you go and stay at the Ritz-Carlton.
Why not?
Unless, well, you can if you want to. I'm not paying for it.
Okay, so I recommend...
If it's in your budget.
I recommend the Four Seasons then in the IFC as a more affordable option. No, I'm joking. It's
a more affordable. I think it's roughly the same.
Probably the same.
But now, here's the issue.
But
I wouldn't, if I was coming here from somewhere else, my priority would not be, I would love to go do watch-related things as well, but I would still want to be on the beach.
And that's
because ultimately,
what I think definitely don't if you want to go to Dubai Watch Week for a couple of days, because the traffic getting in and out was insane.
Was it?
It was.
I never had any issues.
Yeah, because you came very early, I guess, like me, and stayed the entire day.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk about this as well.
But I'm saying,
yes.
If you can, and it's no problem, choose a hotel that's close to Dubai Watch Week. And if you stay a bit longer or you stay pre-Dubai Watch Week, just book another hotel for the other few days. So you can combine that. Have a nice beach vacation for a couple of days.
I have to maintain the fact I showed up at Dubai Watch Week when gates opened around 9 or 10 a.m.
Yep, me too.
And there was no one there.
I know.
No one. There was no traffic. There was no parking issues. There was no problems. So this is what I'm saying. Yes, if you're going to show up at 5 p.m., it's going to be packed. You're going to have issues with parking. So by all means, get a hotel by the beach. Just make sure you're there in the morning.
Yeah, but then you're paying for
because
a hotel
otherwise
at the
you're going to get
beach
stuck
and
in traffic.
you're not actually enjoying the beach. I would say
no. I'm guessing here.
Yeah,
your significant other is staying at the hotel. Is my guess. Yeah. My wife would do this as well, right?
That's a good point. Then definitely do that. On the other hand, if you are coming by yourself, then by all means, I think take something close by. You don't have to daily grind with a taxi. Getting a taxi to go there in the morning, because it's also taxi rush hour in the morning, where a lot of people take taxis.
And it's walking distance.
To go.
There's lots of hotels within walking distance.
There is also the metro that you can take. So if you have a hotel that is a bit further away, take the metro. We have great...
DIFC has its own stop, by the way. So you can get out literally right where Dubai Watch Week is.
Very simple. It's a 5-minute walk maximum, and you're there, 5 to 6 minute walk. And the weather is nice. It's like summer in Europe, not too bad. It's really, really lovely. So you can walk outside. It's not too hot. It's not like a summer in Dubai where it can be really, really hot. It's lovely weather. It's beautiful. You will have a great time. There's lots of hotels close to metro stations that are very affordable, where you can get really good stuff here. For example, in Barsha Heights, or formerly known as TCOM, there's lots of great budget options with a metro station right around the corner. So you can just hop on the metro. Half an hour later, you're at the venue, and it's very cheap and affordable.
If you are doing this, then you want to be on, the northbound side of Sheikh Zayed Road, right?
Yeah.
Any one of those hotels, you're going to have direct access to the metro.
No problem. But if you want the ultra luxury super experience, then book the Emirates Towers, book one of the DIFC hotels, and there's a couple of them that are close by. Also on Sheikh Zayed Road in that area, there's a couple of good options. The 25-hour hotel is really lovely if you fancy something more boutique-y and stylish. There's lots of options that are relatively close by, where you could walk over, and you're directly at the venue. DIFC itself has gazillion of food options and coffee shops and restaurants, from the highest high end, from Le Petit Maison to Roberto's to Zuma to the best steakhouses in town. There's everything available there. 2 budget options as well. So everything is available there. It's a lovely... I was there to buy a watch winder for my brother-in-law, and I went to Momentum, right? My good friends from there. And they have just recently moved inside the FC to a new location, which is really lovely. And they are specialized in special vintage watches, especially Rolex. So if you are in the market for a specific birth year watch or something, they will help you and sort you out. So we have Watchbox in DIFC as well. They have one of their shops. They also probably be there in force.
There's like four different vintage, but used pre-owned watch shops there too.
Yeah, because
so there's a good number of them.
DIFC is where lots of money is, obviously, because there's all these traders and investment bankers of the world, and the big companies are there. So obviously, there's also nice retail shops which you can look at.
It's basically a whole mall.
Yeah, and then of course you have the exhibitors on Dubai Watch Week. So lots of brands are there. You have other specialized. We don't know yet who's coming. We don't have a list of the brands that are attending. I think it's not yet published.
So certain brands have a big pavilion, right? So Rolex had a big pavilion, AP had a big pavilion, Chopard had a big pavilion. Yeah, those were the three last year.
And the year before,
and then everyone else was in the middle.
Was Chopard also big? No, I think the Chopard was the one before that. The year, maybe the one before, there was.
I don't remember
where the AP pavilion was. There was the Chopard, and
I thought there was two. Maybe
released the Alpine Eagle at the time. There,
Alpine Eagle was released,
and then the AP had a.
So ultimately, everyone else, there's a hall, right? A hall, and each watch brand has a little boutique that's participating, and then you get to go and see 5, 6, 10 watches from each brand. There's some really cool brands that like HYT. That I'd never previously handled HYT watches. I know Moser had its own little boutique. A bunch of these high-end brands with very new watches, right? That's the first place I saw or tried the Vacheron Overseas. This was back in like 2015 when the new one came out. The first place I tried the newly re-released or released at the time, Octo Finissimo.
Yeah.
So you get to see a lot of watches that you're not going to see at the boutique.
Yeah, the Tudor FXD, when it was new, you could see and try on. Tudor had its own stand. Rolex had a massive stand and an historic little museum built up there. Then there's a lot of these different pop-up areas where you have either vintage watch shows or events in that little areas, watchmaking events where you can actually get your hands dirty and actually assemble a movement or assemble certain parts of a movement. These events have limited participation, so there's only limited spots available. They're all free. The entire entrance is free. So, but you have to register. You have to register, and that is free. But you have to register early because spaces are limited. But don't freak out if you didn't manage to get any spots. Put yourself on the waiting list. I know waiting lists have a bit of a bad connotation. Wait.
First, you're mixing things up here. You're mixing things up because ultimately registration gets you in the doors. There's no limit to how many people can register.
No, register for the event itself. You're talking about the registration
for
the events inside.
Yes.
Because
for the event or the events.
The events.
You're confusing me.
Well, the Dubai Watch Week needs a registration, but for that you don't even need to register beforehand. You can just do that while walking.
There's no wait list for that one, so you can always go to that. Yes. You can see the exhibitors. There's no wait list for this. No, there's no maximum number.
But you have to be registered.
What Ralf is talking about is the workshops.
Yeah, but you have to be registered for the event ahead of time to go to the panel discussions, to the workshops, to the releases of watches, to maybe some parties of watches that they might have. Mm-hmm. I know,
and these are mini events or whatever you want to call them. Exactly. These are time slots like 4 to 5 p.m. Moser is going to do a release, right? These are the events we're talking about.
Yeah, and these are the things where you have to register for. And if you don't get an admission right away in the app, they usually have an app or the website. I don't know what they will do this year. You can then put yourself on a wait list and also still get in. Or sometimes you just pitch up and say like, hey, how many people didn't come? Because like with all things, I registered for everything that I could possibly register for, except the watchmaking parts where I thought, okay, I will probably not do this. where I knew that I was going every day and I wanted to spend as much time as I could. But then the closer the date came, I knew, okay, this afternoon I probably won't go. So I released my spot and then somebody from the waitlist gets it. So that's the nice thing to do. And even if you forget to release your spot, there will be people waiting to get in. And when close to the time, when people didn't pitch up, they will let people in from the waitlist that stand in front of the door. So don't fret if you don't get an invite to a specific panel discussion you wanna be. Last year we had the CEO of Breitling, George Kern, had a panel discussion. We had Nick Fuchs there. We had Jean-Claude Biver. I don't think he was on a panel discussion last year, or was he? We have, of course, we had FP Jorn attending. The CEO of Rolex wasn't in a panel discussion because, as you know, they don't do interviews, but he was running around the event. So you can actually rub shoulders with the CEO of Rolex, if you like, Mr. Dufour. Then Philippe Dufour himself was there. So these are people you can just bump into and you see the CEO.
Jean-Claude Biver, did we say that already?
Yeah, I said, yeah.
And I mean,
and all the people you see only on YouTube, or on TV, or you just see these, you just hear of these people. They are there, they're accessible, you can talk to them. There's no pressure of selling. They are not busy running from one appointment to the next. Most of the people are very relaxed when they are on Dubai Watch Week, because there's not, except these workshops and panel discussions, these little events quasi inside Dubai Watch Week, there's no real agenda. This is just watch brands sharing passion for watchmaking and their watches with customers, without selling anything directly on that event. So that means you, as a watch interested person, will have an absolute blast if you come to Dubai Watch Week. It's the best event I've ever been to.
I would suggest, by the way, if you are here, if you're coming, the days that it's much less busy is going to be the weekdays.
Yes.
Generally speaking, the weekdays during the day from maybe 10 a.m. until like 3, 4 p.m., there's usually very little competition to get into things. So usually every time that I go is I will go 2 days out of the 5 days, and I'll go usually on a Thursday and a Friday, or a Wednesday and a Thursday, something along those lines.
This year.
I do skip the weekends. It does get super busy in the weekends.
This year we are on a mission.
But during the week.
This year we will be, equipped with microphones, and we will interview the hell out of everybody.
Everyone that we can find. Yeah.
We will, if you see us, you will get a microphone in your face. So be prepared for that. Have some cool statements prepared that you can leave with us. Yeah, but generally, a lovely event. It's very, very chilled out, very nice. You will meet lots of watch lovers, and you can strike up conversations with everybody. It's just such a friendly, nice atmosphere. This year, I expect it to be very, very busy, because we will have so much of publicity for Dubai Watch Week that
every year it gets busier and busier.
So there will be more.
So
if you can attend as many days as you like, or as you possibly can, because there's every day something new happening. If you only attend 1 or 2 days, choose them wisely. Sometimes there are also very nice parties in the evenings, so you can enjoy your time there, or then people go to other places around this area for lovely, lovely dinners, La Cantine de Faubourg and other places, which is lovely and just opposite the road. What is this? Amazonas? Also very nice. I've never been. There's so many incredible dining places, and some people then branch off and have a nice time afterwards. And there are parties actually there as well. So we had some cool, dancing and parties on the event itself. So there's parking available, no problem if you're taking a rental car, or you take your own car if you live here. But parking is not free, so be prepared to just.
It's not expensive either.
Pay, I think it's 100 dirhams a day or something.
20 dirhams an hour, or 100 dirhams a day.
I think there's a cap
along
to it. I think if you stay the entire day or something.
I don't even think I paid 100 dirhams. I don't know how much. I think it was less. but
I don't know. I can't remember.
Beats me. I think I paid like 50 maybe.
But again, that was 2 years ago. Things
we'll
might
see what
have
happens
changed.
now.
Yeah. So
Yes. All this talk is making me anxious about it.
Yeah, I'm getting very excited. So
What is going to happen this
will
year?
be there every day. I took off already, so that's already confirmed. So I will be there, hanging around, and I hope I will meet lots of listeners at the event. Lots of other watch nerds from all around the world. The panel discussions themselves are super interesting. I think they have always been very, very nice. They have been very good moderators, and
I love the panel discussions. I think they're fantastic.
Yeah, they were fantastic. So engaging, and you can ask questions. So everybody is engaged, right? So yeah.
Yeah, and once again, you guys have to register for these mini events or panel discussions or whatever in advance, because I've seen so many people turn away at the door that are physically there because they're not registered. They will then have to scramble and register, or if they can't, if there's physically no space, then they have to skip it.
Yeah. So I wonder, actually, sometimes when the last time we saw so many things about the crypto shit. Sorry, did I say that? The crypto industry and the NFTs and all of these things, and how that will be just the best thing since sliced bread and the future of everything. And now it's just like nobody talks about it anymore. And I dared to say that, like, why would you have a watch NFT? Why? That was hottest thing, and now it's the thing. It has run its course.
And what about the lady that does the poems at the beginning of the sessions?
The moderator.
What's your opinion of this?
Well, I thought some of them were really nice. It was a bit like when you came to this event and you are faced with that kind of deep verbal expression, you were thinking like, what happened here? Right?
Yeah, that's just kind of,
it was a bit surprising.
It felt out of place. It felt out of place.
I don't know. I think
they've been doing this ever since. I don't even know how many times I've gone. They've always had this lady doing the poems.
I sort of liked it, and I sort of looked forward to it after a couple of times. First, I thought like, oh, this is weird.
But the first one, when you walk in, exactly. The first one, and then you get used to it.
And I thought, yeah, well, it's something.
But every year it's weird.
Yeah, and I thought it has a bit of this. It's an art form as much as we think that high-end watchmaking is an art form.
But we have to combine this with also what she wears. She dresses in
very
like the most ridiculous outfits. We're talking like chrome dress with like massive glasses, and then she comes out and says a poem, and every time I'm like, this is a little embarrassing, right?
The moderator. No, I think it's it's just different. And when you think the Arabic speaking world has a lot of tradition with poetry, right? And it's
of course.
Our leaders here have published books about poetry themselves, so there's a lot of emphasis on words.
Get someone
and then
to do it, in Arabic, for instance, right? And then I would be like, okay, makes sense. But
I think that
for some reason seems out of place.
I think that would be a very good idea, because Arabic is, of course, something that poems in Arabic, I haven't actually listened to many. And it would be really nice to hear that as well.
Everyone who's coming from abroad, that's a taste of UAE culture,
absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
So why don't they do that instead of having this?
Well, in general, I think
she's British, or I don't know where she's from.
I think she's from the region, but the thing is that it's it has a bit of. I mean, it is a form of hospitality as well. That you share a bit of your own culture, obviously, and that's the Arabian hospitality that is world famous. And you see this happening during this event. I mean, it's absolute, and also one of the things, it's absolutely safe. Bring all your watches.
Oh yeah, but seriously,
maybe not.
I was surprised at how many legacy machines I saw. I've never seen anyone wearing a legacy machine anywhere else, but there, every single person had that blue domed legacy machine on the wrist.
Yes. I think bring not all your watches, because I was just realizing that you might have issues with getting them out and into countries because of import duties or something.
Two, let's say.
Bring 2 or 3, but bring your nicest game, because there's no security issues in Dubai. You will be fine. The watch event is safe. Everything else is safe. DIFC is safe. I mean, you will be, no matter which watch you have, there will be people with 100 times more expensive watches. I can guarantee you that. So don't worry about your watch. Don't worry about a Rolex.
Even if you come up with your, 500,000 dirham Richard meal, $500,000 Richard meal, I should say, there's going to be somebody with a one-of-one FP Journe that was custom made for him, right? So you're never going to compete.
Yeah. And maybe we could do something cool. We could do a small little, we could organize a little tour.
A get together.
Maybe a get together or a little tour, because Dubai Mall is not far away. Which of course you have the mall walk with all of the cool boutiques and stuff. But we also have, we could put together a small trip through watch locations around Dubai that people then can do by themselves if they're visiting. Right?
Yeah.
So certain shops in Dubai Mall, certain pre-owned dealers that we think you should see. Some of them are very famous on YouTube, right? Luxury souk. Was it luxury?
Yes.
Luxury souk, yeah.
Luxury souk, yeah.
For example, man, he has followers like crazy, and he's such a personality. It's a lovely store to visit. If you want to see the craziest watches in the world, all in one place. If you want to purchase something nice, right, or sell. And we could put together a list of locations that you might want to see when you're here. That could be cool. Yeah, maybe we will work on that. So if you're visiting, let us know, or just come to Dubai Watch Week, right? We will be there. I'm not yet sure if we should register as press. Then we could access to the press area where you can do better interviews and things. And we have our own space that we can book and just interview people there and have a proper mic set up. You have to see.
Let's see. We'll see.
How do we do that?
We have 2 months to figure it out.
Yes, it's around the corner.
So,
I'm getting excited. I'm getting antsy.
Anyway, all right. On that bombshell,
Dubai Watch Week.
We've gone over. We've used our time. We highly recommend you check out Dubai Watch Week. We'll see what we can do. Maybe we'll have a little Lume plotters get together at Dubai Watch Week. Maybe we can meet some of the listeners in person. That would be nice.
Yeah.
So keep listening. We'll see what's going to happen. But
and for everybody who's also drinking alcohol, there's you can. There's plenty.
By the way, it's not dry
it's
by
not
any
dry
means.
or anything.
The restaurants there do serve alcohol. So for those of you that will want, Aperol spritz for your lunch, it's available.
No special dress code. Come relaxed.
Yeah. Some people dress in, shorts and a t-shirt. Some people are coming in full suits.
Yeah.
Once again,
whatever you feel comfortable.
So, exactly. Anyway, on that bombshell, if you have any more questions about Dubai Watch Week, coming to Dubai, or anything else like that, let us know. Send us a message on Lume Plotters.
One important message for the ladies. Ladies who come in the events, some of the events might be on, the air conditioning might be quite cold. So even while it's very nice and warm in Dubai,
outside,
bring a jumper or bring a jacket or something. Just inside malls and inside some of the events, it might be a bit colder than you expect. So don't freeze.
Yeah, good.
Alrighty.
Anyway, once again, thanks for listening. Hope you learned something new.
And I hope to see you.
Yes, absolutely. We'll keep we'll post some more information if when we figure out how we'll do or when we'll do a get together.
Yes, and bring your Scuba 50 Fathoms.
Best watch. Your Swatchpain.
Exactly.
All right.
Bye bye. See you there.
See you next week.
Bye.